with Jim Covert, Program Manager of the Onsite Consultation Group here in Nebraska. Thanks for driving up, man.
Oh, no problem. Easy drive.
I know, it is an easy drive. On a nice morning like this, it's actually a nice drive.
It was like 40 minutes from my office doorstep to here, so that's
nice.
That's
you were in your office before this?
No. Let's not get crazy.
Okay, I was going to say.
No, I rolled from home right to here. So.
Well, thanks for coming up. I appreciate it, and thank you again for the sponsorship.
Always.
Onsite Consultation is a cherished sponsor of the program. You've been doing that for a few years now, and I sincerely appreciate it, man. So thank you so much. And I do appreciate what you're doing with the consultation group. I've got a few things consultation related I'd love to talk about.
Sure. I
do have one little tidbit of information I'd like to share. I get a lot of phone calls, as do you, I'm sure, just questions. People will just call and say, hey, man, I just want some verification or affirmation that I'm on the right track. I had a guy call me the other day. He's a safety manager, and he called me to tell me, he goes, hey, my boss has a question for you. We had an amputation at the facility yesterday, but they've indicated that they think they can reattach the finger. Do we still have to call? And I thought, and he was being facetious, of course. I mean, I think he was a little concerned that his boss was actually asking this with some amount of seriousness, and I'm no longer with OSHA. I want to make that perfectly clear. But in my opinion, if you have an amputation, regardless of whether or not they can reattach it, you should probably make the call.
Yeah,
would you agree with that?
I would totally agree with that. Yeah, regardless of the successful outcome of the reattachment, once it departs the body.
Right. That really is the criteria.
Probably make the phone call.
This is meat departing the body.
Yes.
I think that is.
Yeah, and that's and then unlike the loss of an eye, where we always think loss of sight, no, it's actually the eyeball exiting the skull.
Right. It is the loss of an eye. I can't find it.
I'm a little disturbed by the fact that they actually felt that was needful to report that. But.
Interesting comment, because I never had the opportunity to be involved in that investigation. I had some decapitations and shit, so I guess you could consider that.
I guess so.
Loss of both eyes, perhaps.
By the time it becomes a problem for OSHA, there has to be some critical mass number. And so for that to be one of the 3 reporting criteria, I'm a little disturbed by that.
I totally agree with that. That's an interesting comment. So anyway, that's my little nugget for this morning, record keeping. I know record keeping is still very confusing to a lot of people.
As it is to me.
As it is to me as well. I get questions all the time that I am uncomfortable asking or answering without doing a little bit of research.
Yes,
but that one I feel comfortable with.
Yeah, that
Are you comfortable with that?
That one's fairly clear cut, because I did go in the weeds and look at that one just to see if I was reading it right, and I was.
Okay, yeah, I agree. That's interesting. Okay, you got any tidbits you want to share before we get started?
No, not really. I mean, we're clicking right along.
You guys busy?
We're comfortable right now. I wouldn't call us busy, but we're comfortable. We're a little shorthanded at the moment. I have one of my people have decided to take outside employment outside the state of Nebraska. So
really?
We're starting that search over again.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it's getting to be kind of a reoccurring theme, if you will. So
well, I mean, obviously, those of us in the profession appreciate the fact that you take these people, train them up really well, and then offer them to us.
Well, it's actually flattering that they're trying to steal them from me, so I guess.
To some degree. Yeah, well, I'm glad you look at it that way, man, because, if you could pay them what they probably deserve, they would stay.
That's always the problem with government. We're always a day late and $2 short.
Yeah, I think that ultimately is the problem, and I know that's not going to change dramatically.
No, I think it's only going to get worse.
Really,
in the foreseeable future. So
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
But we still have health, we still have safety. We've got a person out of North Platte now.
Good.
That'll be out on her own shortly.
Oh, nice.
So we'll have the state covered at least. And
very good.
We're getting calls. We're getting CRTs occasionally. So.
Interesting. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So hopefully everybody listening has a good idea what consultation is, what you offer, how it works, the fact that it is free consultation, all of these services, safety and industrial hygiene related, free service provided by the state, which I think is a fantastic resource, and hopefully everybody is taking advantage of that has the opportunity to. But I ran into something recently with one of my clients who had an incident that involved reporting to OSHA, and during the actual arbitration of this, my client was offered a CRT, which I had not heard of before. So would you mind talking a little bit about that?
Okay, then I'm not going to try and break down the acronyms. It's governmentese, but essentially Whenever somebody experiences a severe injury report, it'll be a severe injury report, either an amputation, a hospitalization overnight, or loss of an eye.
Or that loss of an eye thing.
You have to make a report to OSHA notifying them within 24 hours that this happened at your facility. And then the response to that is usually a rapid response investigation to see what happened and see what steps could have been taken to avoid this, and then any associated fines that might be a result of that. Starting about, probably close to 2 years ago, the Missouri program, OSHA Consultation program, and the Kansas City office got together and decided, hey, wouldn't resources be better spent giving some of these to Consultation to investigate instead of using OSHA people that are busy all the time doing sometimes more serious things. And plus Consultation, I mean, we've had some ebbs and flows in work, so it was kind of a beneficial thing. So they did put together this pilot program to try it out. It was very successful in Missouri. They then asked other states in the region if they wanted to participate. I raised my hand and volunteered. So we were the second state in the area, but also the nation. It's not happening anywhere else in the nation yet.
Very cool.
And we've been doing it for a little over a year. And I think we've done probably close to 20, 15 and 20.
I was not aware of that. So that that kind of surprised me that you'd done that many.
We weren't really advertising it because it's really beyond our control and the employer's control. It's totally at OSHA's discretion which ones of these they transfer over. And they have a triage system they use. And I could get into it, but it's rather detailed. Complicated.
Yeah,
but essentially, if you have a history of problems in the past, you're probably not going to get to participate. If you're too big, you can't participate. If it's particularly a heinous injury, they're going to probably take it more than us. And we've done a couple that I was surprised that we got. They're unusual, but I mean they were still within our ability to assess it and help out and try and figure out what happened. But it works just like our normal full service consultation where OSHA offers it to the employer. The employer has 3 days to think about it. If they decide they want to take us up on it, they have to send me a request, just more or less like normal, saying, hey, we've been asked to have this opportunity to take advantage of your services through OSHA. They put a request in. I send them a letter back saying, hey, we've got you on the books. We're going to schedule this soon. And then they have to give that to OSHA to verify that they've signed up.
Okay.
And then I have to, if they back out and say they cancel it the next day, I have to, get word to OSHA somehow.
Sure.
I mean, we don't direct communication, so I have to go
through my channels,
and then they let them know that they're back on the radar again.
Yeah.
But really, from that point, once they drop the request, my folks call them, and we try and get something set up as soon as we can, usually within 2 weeks. We send a safety and an industrial hygienist out. They first look into the accident and the situation that arose to the accident, beforehand to the accident, investigate kind of what happened, interview some people, hopefully interview the person that the accident happened to. Sometimes that always hasn't been
difficult
possible.
Sure.
And then try and figure out, somewhat what happened, what steps could have been taken to avoid it, if there were any citations possibly that could have been involved. And we document that and say, well, these are the things OSHA would have cited.
Yeah.
And we need to fix those. And then we go ahead and do a full safety and health walkthrough of that location. And that's the only stipulation really is we have to do a full, which means wall to wall. It's not just, we just want to do this corner or just where the accident happened.
It's not like a limited scope.
Yeah. So that's where the SRIs or the rapid response investigations for the SIRs, they focus just on the accident. So that's the difference. I mean, if you stick with OSHA, you're going to look just at that incident,
right?
But still get the fines.
But subject to citation and penalty if that was appropriate.
Yeah. Whereas us, we're going to still find the same thing, but you have to participate in the full walkthrough and agree to correct any hazards we find as a result of that. So it's kind of strange. I just had a meeting this week. I thought that almost all the ones that they'd offered had accepted, and I found out there's been 3 or 4 that said, no, we'd rather have OSHA come out.
No kidding.
Which I'm like, did they tell you why?
That's really interesting.
I'm just curious. Did they have? What was the reason? And the answer was, and it made sense. They're like, well, they've been through this before. They know what's involved with OSHA coming out. They feel confident they're not going to find that much.
The devil maybe or something.
Yeah, and it's only going to be like they'll be in and out within 3 or 4 hours where they'd have to have you guys out for a full day and they're just choosing that.
Interesting.
And I'm like, well, that's interesting, but I still kind of, it's a strange.
That surprises me.
Yeah, strange tangent for somebody to go down, I think. But, you know.
Yeah, and so, but they've worked out well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we've had great luck with them. I think a lot of everybody that has experienced it has really said, well, this is very painless, process for them to go through with us. We've gotten some repeat work off of it.
Nice.
And, and in some cases, we've found some people that, they always say every accident is preventable, and it probably is to some extent. But a couple of the places we've worked with, it's just like dumb luck or bad luck, and they were very prepared. They had all their ducks in a row, and it still happened. So, it doesn't have to be just the perception that only employers that don't care have accidents.
Right.
It's just,
good comment.
They can come at any time, anywhere, at anyone. So.
And sometimes those incidents are just a variability that actually falls within this predictable range.
Yeah.
It's just, And
in like a couple cases that I can think of off the top of my head, the things that the accident happened, it'd been something that they'd been doing for a while, and just finally the clock ran out, and that person happened to be there when it did, and
right.
And now they've taken steps to address it, and so it won't happen again.
Interesting. I was really surprised. As I mentioned, my client reported an incident to OSHA and then received a call from the duty officer in the Omaha area office indicating we are going to afford you this opportunity to work with Consultation. And he called me immediately, and I said, I've not heard of that before. So to go off the record, I actually called you just to get some clarification about what the program is. I was ecstatic, and my employer, my client, opted to take advantage of that. I think they loved it. Anthony and Lauren came out. I was allowed to participate in that opening conference and the initial walk around and stuff, and they did a great job. I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons that I have always promoted utilizing Consultation, if it's available to you, is simply because you're going to get a different audit than I would perform. The special Anthony, Lauren, they find things that I don't find. They were pointing out things that I would not have noticed or would have not have commented on. And so it was incredibly useful. I think my client was very satisfied, and, you're not dealing with the possibility of citations and penalties.
And it's always, I've never been through an OSHA audit before, so I can't tell anybody what it's like, but I imagine it's somewhat confrontational, a little bit tense.
It can be tense, definitely tense.
And when we come in, and people find us intimidating too until they get to know us, because we're from the government and we're here to help you ostensibly,
right?
The most terrifying words that
ever spoken. That's right.
But once they sit down with, we are here to work with them, to help them have a good experience with their employees. Nobody benefits if somebody gets hurt or gets sick.
Yep.
Injuries cost money, we know that, but the effect of those injuries on the people around them and morale and production will linger on well past the time that the injuries heal.
No doubt.
And why do that if we don't have to? And we're another set of eyes. We're not confrontational, but we are looking at things from a different perspective. Things that you might have seen every day and it doesn't register.
Just walk past.
And then we walk in and go, hey, what about this?
Yeah, man.
This hand grenade sitting over here in the corner. What about it?
I agree.
And it happens a lot. And that's the one thing, I guess, and my one guy that's leaving, he's going to go be the safety coordinator for a fairly sizable grain handling outfit.
Okay.
But I said, so you're going to have us out? He's like, well, I'll have the IH out. And I'm like, what about safety? He's like, well, I'm the safety. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so...
Unfortunately,
but that's the perspective.
That is a common perspective. That we have a safety guy to do that.
He was joking.
Oh, good.
A little bit.
Good.
But that's but I do safety. I don't need anybody to help me do my job. I already am doing the job, and that's that's one of the pitfalls that everybody falls into.
Yes.
Don't look at it as being we're trying to hurt you or impugn your integrity or your job performance, but it's another set of eyes.
Absolutely. And as we both know, having done lots of audits in our day, you see something different. I see something different every time. Oh, yeah. And then you bring another set of eyes through who has different training, different expertise, and they find something different. I guarantee it.
And Anthony, you were talking about earlier, he was just doing a job here just 3 days ago that I know I've been there 2 or 3 times over the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And the other guys have been there multiple times recently. He sends me a picture of these exposed chains and sprockets on this thing. And I'm like, well, where's that? He's like, what's one of the main machines? Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, Will they take the guards off? He's like, yeah, about 1975.
Well, that was after you were there.
So we walked by it countless times and didn't see it. So it's just a part of doing business.
It is what it is. I agree. Well, I think this is an interesting program. Obviously, a big fan of Consultation. I like this CRT opportunity. It's interesting, and I do agree that there are times when OSHA needs to get some help. You know, you guys are available. They don't have the resources to cover all this stuff, so it's really a good program.
And, you know, I'm sure you've heard this too. Whenever somebody would get visited by OSHA, they said, well, if you would have just afforded me the opportunity to fix this, I would have.
Right.
So for all of you that ever thought that or said that, if you're offered this opportunity, take it, because this is your one time that they're going to let you do this.
This is a warning.
Yeah.
You know, these are warnings. These aren't citations. So if Consultation finds something, you get a warning and you get an opportunity to fix it. So don't be bitching about not getting a warning.
So hopefully they're getting the numbers now because of all the states that are, Kansas is involved in it too now.
Good.
So we've got about 3 years in Missouri, 2 years in Nebraska, 1 year in Kansas. They're taking the numbers and they're going to present them to DC here sometime this summer or this fall and say, we think this is a beneficial program. We would like to keep doing it. And then hopefully it goes nationwide.
Good. You don't have to go to DC, do you?
No, thank God, no.
Oh, good.
No,
you can zoom in on that, maybe?
Hopefully there's a Zoom on that or WebEx.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the explanation. I think it's a fantastic program. I hope it continues and expands. I think that would be a great opportunity for employers to get to work with you, get to know your consultants, and perhaps work together in the future. So I love it. I like it a lot.
It's a great program, I think.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Jimmy.
You bet. Thanks.